Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Good. We had some leftovers from yesterday's breakfast
It was
excursion.
Jeff's birthday recently, so we've had a birthday breakfast part
Yeah, we
two.
went to somewhere we'd never gone before,
Yeah,
which is fairly new. I think it opened
it
in
is?
2019. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty good, but we had a lot as usual. So we took some home and we were able to finish it this morning.
So good, so good. Like
And
this
it like a,
potato casserole thing or whatever it's
yeah,
called, I'm just like obsessed with it. Cheesy potatoes.
yeah, there's
I
something
don't
about it. I don't
I
know.
do not
I
like
think it was
breakfast,
time in there.
so the fact that I could eat potatoes, well, I mean, I usually eat potatoes for breakfast and like,
Yeah, yeah,
little sliced potatoes or whatever on the
yeah.
side, but I do not like, I think I just don't like eggs. I don't
Mm.
like eggs.
This
I
is
know that people
absolutely
can
true.
do eggs in different ways. Not a
Well, you
fan.
don't like breakfast eggs for sure.
Do
You can
not.
deal with other things that maybe have egg as part of it, but
I will eat a slice of pizza for breakfast
like a
and I will be
casserole, there's
okay.
probably egg in that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Or
Give me a
mayonnaise.
casserole with no egg. I don't know.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't know. I don't know. I'm
when
just
I do
making
the
things
green
up.
bean casserole, I don't put eggs in it.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. No, yeah,
Broccoli
yeah,
puff.
yeah.
If you want it to puff up, you gotta pop the egg in there.
I guess. I guess. Yeah. What
And they
what
called it
else?
potato puff.
Potato puff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too much else. It was an enjoyable weekend.
We're back on the couch, so Winnie was like,
We're
please pet
also
me.
back into the 90s in temperature instead of in the hundreds, which is
When
nice.
you said that, I was thinking, the big we're back to the
What a game.
90s.
What a game that is. My
Like the
goodness.
actual 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I would take either,
Uh-huh.
but I'm happy about the temperature.
I am drinking my coffee, but I have our semi-local honey put in it.
Yeah, from a winery we went to.
Mm-hmm.
It was really tasty. It's a really tasty honey.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Yeah, so nothing too exciting happening here. We're just
No, yeah,
talking
no, a
about
good weekend.
food
Yeah.
and coffee.
It's always a good weekend when food is
90s
the
hype.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on here,
Yeah.
We did demoed yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Played
We played
six games. Six
Mm-hmm.
games.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we started off like real chill with some co-op. They were both
They were both
co-op.
co-op.
The second one is more or can be more competitive, but we didn't have other people to
Yeah,
race.
it was still really fun because it's
Yeah.
like challenges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember we found that one duck?
It was a frog. Oh, the duck. Oh, yeah. The frog was in the first game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what the first game is about. We had to save the baby frogs.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one was chaotic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the duck. Yeah, that was only one duck. There's two more that we didn't see at all.
I know. Oh, believe me.
Yeah.
It
Once
was
it cools down, for sure, though, more walks for Winnie Wooston.
Lynette has been giving Winnie pretty frequent walks, which is really
Yeah,
sweet
he
in the
loves the
morning.
squirrels. They're your best friends, right? Doesn't care about the children he sees, doesn't care about the dogs he sees. Unless the dog is like barking at him, then he's just like, run,
Let's go.
Run.
We have to go. I'm going to shrink myself down and walk over here.
He's just a boy. Yeah. All right. Well, are we ready?
Juan's
Your
ready.
face, you're like, what is this? Juan's
Juan's
ready.
Turn to page 39. Back to the Burrow. Today's lesson is called When Worlds Collide. The chapter begins with Harry and his family waiting for the Weasleys to arrive to take Harry to their home for the rest of the summer. I just wrote this, but that's how that goes. Vernon and Petunia are ready to judge, but Dudley is just scared to relive the trauma of a pig's tail. Their judgment begins before the Weasleys even arrive, however, as they are late. Until there's noise from the fireplace as several of them pile up behind the Dursleys' electric grate. Mr. Arthur Weasley magicks away the grate and outspill Fred, George, and Ron, as well as a cloud of ash and dust. As Mr. Weasley tries to make small talk with the Dursleys, the twins run off to collect Harry's things. A few awkward minutes later, Ron and the twins go back through the fireplace, but not before spilling some sweets into the room, one of which Harry's cousin consumes just before Harry is going to go through the floo network himself. Dudley's tongue has grown too large for his mouth, and although Mr. Weasley is trying to help, the Dursleys are panicked.
Yeah, I would be too. This is way worse than your pigtail, Dudley.
Yes, it is.
Although that was 3 years ago, you're fine. It's fine.
It's trauma.
It's fine. I'm also imagining the conversation of Fred and George convincing Arthur. I don't know who was originally like slated to go pick up Harry, but you don't need 4 people to go pick him up. So I'm imagining that Fred and George basically convinced them to like let them
we'll
go.
We'll carry Harry's stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was imagining that as well. Oh my gosh.
Also, Fred, George, and Ron had already been to the Dursley house in book 2 in the car.
Yeah.
They didn't go in.
No.
But saw it, been there. They know about these humans.
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah, no, we know how to navigate this. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I totally forgot until Harry reminded us that the Ford Anglia is destroyed. I was like, oh yeah, they'll just like go in the car. Oh no. Oh no. Not
it's
at all.
Destroyed.
And Harry's just like, I think so. I think
it's also possessed,
they're driving.
even if it wasn't destroyed. So I don't know. Gotta cut ties with it.
It is possessed. I love so Arthur, of course, is obsessed with Muggle stuff, and I love how didn't electricity come up again in a previous chapter? I like how he doesn't say electricity or electric. It's eclectric.
What exactly is the purpose of a rubber duck?
Eclectricity. It's like, yeah, I collect plugs, and I'm just imagining Molly, because plugs aren't
and
really
batteries.
Anything that interesting. Neither are batteries.
Plugs
like,
makes no sense. Batteries make some sense.
He's like, oh, look at this. Well, there are different types of plugs. You have like the ones with the 3-pronged ones, you have the 2-pronged ones, you have like the chunkier ones that are part of like for surge protectors, and then you have the thinner ones. So I could see.
Well, you always get that twist, right? So there's the phrase, I can't remember where it's from, where it's like any technology is sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
Oh.
So it's like a concept of like if
I thought you were going to say one man's trash is another man's treasure.
This also fits fantastically, yes. But it's funny to have it flipped like that, where it's actually like a wizard who's like, what in the world is a battery? This is insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like he doesn't even understand the lingo, but if he did, it would blow him away. Like if he actually knew what like electricity was, and how it was harnessed and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So the title of this podcast. What am I saying? The title of this podcast is Magical Theory.
It is.
So like, do you think just like, so your example of the battery or electricity that we study in school, do you think that doesn't seem to be part of the curriculum? Although I guess we don't really get to see the classes in full.
Muggle
we don't
studies?
get to see no, not Muggle studies, but how magic works. Like what? I'm sorry. You're just like you gotta mean things. You gotta be skilled at it or believe it. Like I don't know. Like the mechanics of magic, which I imagine that they don't study.
Yeah, no, it's the metaphysics of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine that somebody like Dumbledore has looked at it and probably has some coherent theories, but do they have the scientific method? Are they going to confirm their theory? I don't know,
It just is.
It just is.
It just is.
Which is a certain approach.
Yeah. I think that like someone like Arthur, it kind of shows, so his obsession with Muggle artifacts is really, telling of his whole like personality and vibe. Like he's just a good person. Because a lot of people can be like, oh, Muggles, someone like Malfoy or the Malfoys being like, oh, they're just like scum. They're not magical. They're lesser. They're beneath. Meanwhile, Arthur is like, whoa, they don't have magic, but they make this cool stuff. Like that's like the sense that I get, where it's just like, oh, he's just so fascinated by them in a very like I don't know, positive or generous way of being like, this is so interesting, like that you don't have magic, but you make these things, and I want to learn more about it. So
Yeah, he and Molly are both really realistic in their tropes. So like Molly is the typical like mothering family above everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll make any type of sacrifice. We'll make it work for the family. And then I think Arthur probably has some of the same thing, but is also a person that is like just content.
Yeah.
He has that because we know people like that, right? Where it's just like every room they go into, something to be content about.
Yeah.
And occupy their thought. And
yeah, Arthur Weasley's not going to turn evil by wanting more out of life.
No.
Just like, I need more.
He does get up
more
in
power.
Lucius's face, so he's got
because
some
Lucius is the worst.
more,
I think
yeah.
anyone
he doesn't.
should.
People who are like that don't like cynics. I mean, or people who are even like bad, evil. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Look around. Like, why are you the way you are? Just look around and be different. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a great character, and he like even with the Dursleys when he's trying to help them, he's like, I'm trying to help.
So
or he comes with his hand out and he's just like, oh yeah,
or
sorry
when
about that.
He forces Vernon to say goodbye to Harry. That part I'm just
know,
yes.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So great. So great. Backing up a bit, there was a comment. So when Vernon, we talked a little bit about Molly's note at the end of the last chapter, which actually in the illustrated version, I mean, I wonder if I can pull it out. In the illustrated version, there's like a picture of, you know, the postcard or the letter with all the stamps. But there is there at the beginning, you get this, you know, reminder that Vernon is obsessed with normalcy. Everything needs to be normal.
He wants to judge them by their car.
Yeah. And when they start freaking out about why they could be late, one of the examples is like, oh, they probably have like an old rickety, like broke down car, and him being distressed about it. And it's like, dude, calm down, please. But it reminded me of the previous conversation about normal, and actually Molly uses the word normal to refer to Owl. Yes. And like thinking about that as not just like once Vernon in the last chapter learned what the normal was referring to, but being thrown in his face is like, you know, other people have different versions of normal, and you aren't normal.
Is that not a huge source of conflict? The fact that normal isn't actually a stable thing.
Yeah.
And people have different definitions of normal, and they'll come into conflict.
I don't know if you can see that if you're watching the video, but it's so some of them are Wizarding World. Yeah, there's like Hedwig up in the middle. There's a mandrake. Yeah, it's so cute. I love it.
The queen.
Yeah. There's lots going on.
Hey, that reminds me. Do you think Muggles
watch the royal wedding?
The wizards are like, oh, the queen?
The queen. I don't know.
Probably not, right?
I mean, they probably.
That'd be weird.
I guess it depends on how.
Is the queen magic?
How so the Weasleys live in the middle of nowhere, but not everyone does.
Right.
So I think it depends on how close you are to actually. London. Yeah, or just blending in with other Muggles, so that because if you didn't know who the queen was, you would probably be like, people would probably be like, wait, what? So they might never talk to you again, which I guess is solution number one. Or it might be like a little too weird. Even if it wouldn't reveal magic per se, just off of that, it would be a little not great for exposing the wizarding world. Maybe. I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah, the relationship between wizards and Muggles is hilarious. Just to think about the
maybe they learn about the royal family in Muggle studies.
I'm sure that they do, yeah. And wars.
And yeah.
Some of the wars.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, we had the Wizarding War, but like the Muggles went absolutely insane and killed way more of each other.
Yeah. It's...
Yeah.
Where did she get those stamps? Did she Now I have more questions now that I showed that picture, even though it's like this is just the illustrated version, so who knows?
The Ministry for Magic probably communicated with the monarchy when they were the head of state.
Oh my
That
gosh,
is
no,
almost
I think
certainly
I
true.
think that's true. Yeah. No, cuz yeah, we'll see later that actually the leadership does communicate.
Yeah, with the prime minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually
Book
part of
6.
in Fantastic Beasts. I'm pretty sure that it's the same thing that
hmm
the MACUSA president also at least is in contact with the Muggle president of the United States, so I think that no, that is likely true. Definitely. Because you don't want like yes, yeah. And yes. Now I'm like going down this other my brain is exploding of like aliens, witches and wizards,
You know what
governmental
else is
secrets.
kind of funny? So there's the statute of secrecy,
Uh-huh.
but clearly it doesn't extend to family, right? So if you're Muggleborn or half-blood,
Mhm.
your
What
non-wizard family member
uh-huh.
knows about you. Maybe more, maybe multiple of them.
What if they have to make an unbreakable vow?
Oh, geez. Well,
No,
the
no, no,
Dursleys
no,
would
no, no.
pass because they're not going to tell anyone.
Yeah.
But that's what I was thinking about is just like, it'd be interesting to know the math of like the connections. How many muggles actually know about wizards but never talk about it?
Yeah.
It's like that classic thing of like, oh, actually, you don't know how many people actually deal with these problems because nobody ever brings them up. And it's of
Yeah.
that style.
So, huh. Well, I wonder if there's like a like section of the ministry that is entirely specifically devoted for family slip-ups or like something because I can imagine I almost said like
Oh,
I would not be able to
so
keep a
you're
secret.
thinking that even if a muggle, so
Mhm.
if Vernon was not Vernon and knew about Harry and just decided to tell everyone, that
Mhm.
actually the ministry would send people to obliviate.
I think so. Because that's part of
Oh.
their duty anyway is to like
This
clean
is a
up
very
some things.
interesting dilemma for me because I think there's a difference between policing wizards and their breaking of the statute of secrecy and muggles
Mhm.
talking to each other. Big
I mean,
difference.
it's all part of it though. Like
Yeah.
that's why I joked about the breakable vow because I was like, well, somebody has to sign some agreement, right? You won't tell. There needs
Yeah,
to be some sort of consequence, right? I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I'm
I
fixing the
guess so.
commands here.
Or you just ostracize them and you make it so that they seem crazy.
I guess so.
Crazy.
Yeah, because that. I'm gonna have to look this up further now. Like, I need to know: are there specific things that are there examples of thing breaches
Because
that
I'm
have
thinking, yeah,
happened?
yeah, I'm thinking
You
of all
know?
the examples of obliviating that we know of, like of muggles. And I feel like all of them were generally, yeah, all of them were caused by wizards or wizarding kind.
Yeah. So I guess hold on, let me think. I'm trying to think of like yeah, because I guess what would happen? Like you would have to make the magic happen. Like a muggle telling another muggle, okay, going back to my aliens example of like, oh, this is like an alien,
So you wouldn't
or like
believe them.
this is like
I think
magic.
this is very true.
I I think that people would need more convincing, which is why in
Yeah.
Wizards Unite, with the whole like all of their trailers were like people documenting on like cell phones or on security cameras, like actual footage that would be distributed to other people. Like you didn't have to be there at that
Right.
moment to
Right.
see it. So I think I don't know, honestly. Now we got to look at
Yeah.
where are the wizarding laws? Can I
yeah.
look them
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. Also, let's think about the Grangers for a second. They
Mhm.
just like after they find out Hermione is a witch, they just like have to go back to being a dentist.
Yep.
That seems crazy to me.
Yeah, I wonder what they tell. Well, no, I don't know. Because Hermione was in school before she turned 11 and went to Hogwarts. So it's like, oh, we're pulling Hermione out, going to private school. Like, what do they tell their friends?
Yeah.
Like, Hermione's just like.
You'll never see her again. Also, she's a witch.
Well, because then she's gonna go off and be the minister for magic eventually, we think. And then what? Like, oh, you're gonna have to make up a whole story at some point. There are so many opportunities for this to fail, I guess, is like now I'm pondering.
Let me go a different direction, a little darker.
Oh no.
So the Grangers go back to being a dentist. Do you think Muggle money could just be counterfeit by the Geminio curse? And be like, oh, here's just like a ton of pounds sterling.
How does that spell get despelled or whatever? How do you get rid of it? At some point you stop it, but do those things still materially come into being? Oh my god. What is happening?
This is what happened when worlds collide.
Well, when you do finite, like it stops the duplication.
Yeah.
What happens with the duplicates? Do they go away? They don't go away. They just.
I really don't know.
Because in the room where the stuff starts like duplicating,
The room where it happens.
It's not like all the stuff like goes away. You know.
Yeah.
They're just like going over this giant pile of however many got duplicated.
Like also on fire, which is pretty intense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
now Jeff's like, there's definitely muggles who, this is the explanation for counterfeiting, is that they actually have an inside with a witcher wizard that is using.
Yes. So isn't it true that we learn about, I believe, one of the twins doing a magic trick for a muggle girl, but it's actual magic, like all this stuff? Yeah, so like there's clearly a gray boundary here where it's not like wizards don't do anything to take advantage of muggles.
Okay, but the other way around, if muggles are somehow like using magic to do illegal things, there needs to be some sort of like process, like muggle court and magical court that comes together, but you can't do that if like, well, I guess the person would know like that magic exists.
Mr. Granger being like, hey, Hermione, can you like, here's our bank account. Make it bigger.
Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't happen, but I could see.
Well,
I could see
the concept.
Oh my gosh. What if the Unforgivable recruits some muggles and then they become even stronger? I don't even know if that would work. The lines, the worlds like colliding is actually the title of this, but it's it brings way too many questions.
No, I don't.
How does this work?
I'm just goofing around.
How does this work?
You can't resolve all of these, obviously.
I need answers to every single one of these questions.
A complex network of like no hard and fast answers.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of Fred and George,
yes,
these sneaky little kids.
They're the best.
You know, okay, not to be a downer and like major spoiler jump into year 7, but like I keep thinking about George Weasley. I'm going to Wizards Unite specifically. So that started this train of thought because I was thinking about Fred and George. So like they do this whole thing with the candy, and they're just like in this, especially in this scene, they're just so
Fred
goofy, and they're so like, oh, we're just little tricksters, whatever. I mean, they're still like teenagers still, but I was thinking about in the context of Wizards Unite, you are George Weasley. And this foundable spirit thing of your dead brother keeps popping up. Like, would you just like hover and stare at it for a while and not return it? Like, there's a lot. And then I started thinking about all the other people who are no longer with us. Like, if
maybe
you
try to capture it and reanimate.
Oh my gosh. I had lots of questions about that, and I was like, oh no, this is way darker than I was intending my train of thought to go with Fred and George, but it still crossed my mind earlier this morning. But they made this toffee, which it was funny because the whole thing of like, oh, whoops, stuff is falling out of my pocket. Let me, and it like scatters everywhere and the
pours. Oh no.
Exactly.
What a klutz.
Yeah.
Whoops,
and then Dudley's tongue, like that sounded terrifying.
Tongue toffee.
Yes, tongue toffee. was a rainbow-colored magical sweet invented by these little mischievous kids over here.
This whole book is going to be magnificent with the two of them and their testing of
the next chapter
drugs.
is well, okay, so I was thinking about them also in the sense of like they are like character. I know that Fred and George are some of your favorite characters, but like they are characterized as just
Every
like
character is one
they
of my
are
favorite characters.
they're just like they don't take things seriously or they're just goofing off or whatever. But what's intriguing to me is the fact that eventually, and we'll see, that they become like entrepreneurial with what they do. And I think it's
Yes.
really fascinating because it's not like candy didn't exist. It's not like tricks didn't exist or whatever, but it's basically they were able to capitalize on all of the things that they were good at or that they like really found passion and drive in and
Yes.
build something. And it was like, so
100%.
cool. So cool.
Yeah. No, their whole story arc is really enjoyable because they actually like, it's that classic, I think we deal with this as in education, where sometimes people that I think outside of education would look at kids and say like, oh, that's the most immature kid in the class. But I think we know that actually that can often be the most mature kids in the class. And they see the sort of weirdness of what they're being asked to do, where it's like, why are we doing it this way? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's just spend our time like doing this other stuff. Though I do enjoy the couple of moments too, where it's like even Fred and George started studying. Makes me laugh.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is their thing, right? Of like,
so like what Arthur kind of surmises is like, oh, let me help. I think I know what's going on. I think it's an engorgement charm. So he probably knows that they've been like experimenting with specific charms and candies and like, you know, having this be sort of pranksty. Although this one in particular seems very, very dangerous and a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like you're going to murder a child somehow. I mean, to be fair, in this instance, Petunia is doing as much harm as the candy because she's basically screaming and like sitting on Dudley. Like, oh my gosh, I'm imagining this whole scene. It's so funny. It's extra funny because the Dursleys are so like obsessed with just orderly and just, you know, being this straight edge, like nothing interesting happens in this household, to mass chaos, fireplace being exploded out. Your son has like a, I don't know, however long tongue coming out of him. Your wife is screaming bloody murder. You're throwing your ceramics at some wizard who is just blasting it with his wand.
no,
it's just so
pure
good.
panic.
So
it's
good.
just a mass panic. They just lose their mind. All because he had to eat the candy.
Yeah, it's your fault. Don't take candy from strangers. That's the moral of the story. Back to the 90s.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Full circle.
Yeah. There was just a plethora
Oh my
of there was an epidemic at that point of candy eating.
We're gonna be taken in a van.
Yeah, strangers eating
That's what
candy.
happens to kids. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I enjoyed this.
It was a pretty short chapter.
Also, Arthur like had I just had this whole monologue about how Arthur is like such a good person, which I mean this is good, but he also was like, let me pull some strings of the ministry and like connect your thing. They could have gone a different way. I guess is what I'm saying. It wouldn't have been as funny, but they could have gone a different way.
Well, I don't think that what he did would have been outside of the law. I think it was just like there's this paperwork that you probably have to fill out, and like he was able to do it quickly or something.
But you're going into a muggle's house who's never seen floo powder.
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen?
I don't know if they think that way.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, especially growing up with wizards, I don't think he would know.
Maybe.
He certainly doesn't know what an electric fireplace is.
He doesn't know how to say electric. Yeah, he definitely did not know. He did not know that concept until today. He was just like, huh.
Yeah, he
you
still
plug
doesn't.
it in?
Like with a plug. Fascinating.
I'm hoping, I don't know if this is a thing that happens in the future, but But if he like, I imagine him like collecting plugs, just chopping it off, and just like destroying the electric fireplace. Like,
Yeah,
let
and
me
just
chop it off
keeping the
and keeping
little
the plug.
yes,
part.
that's what I
Like
also
on his way
imagine.
out, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, let me just
He
sever
doesn't
this
keep
and
the
come out."
cord because he doesn't understand the cord.
Mhm.
He doesn't understand any of it. He's just keeping this because it's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly is the purpose of a rubber
I
duck?
think it's function.
Function.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know the direct
Function.
quote. I think it's function. It sounds
That sounds right.
fancier.
Yeah, it's just great. The way that who you put in contact, like having characters develop separately and then like they have these identities and then bringing them together is always can be a source of fun in the story. Like having Mr. Weasley
Mhm.
meet the Dursleys, somebody who's like so embedded in wizarding culture but actually is like has a hobby obsession with muggles.
Mhm.
I always wanted longer scenes between Mr. Weasley and the Grangers, like especially after like they get married and it's like, well,
Oh my gosh.
let's have
They
come to this.
probably are like, oh, let's go hang out with the Grangers.
Yeah,
They're
he
just like,
probably
oh
is,
my
yeah.
god, this again.
Let's bring the grandkids over.
Oh,
We'll
no.
port over there.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually he does learn.
He just takes
doesn't.
Muggle studies from Hermione.
Yeah.
She just like gives him like little tidbits about
And is it a
Muggles.
noble profession? The dentist.
So cute. So cute.
Are you done?
I'm done.
I'm done.
All right. Oh wait, I'm not. Hold on.
I'm
All
not
right.
done.
Until next time.
Juan's
Juan's ready.